Hey, joining us in the green room today, we have River. You are the lead singer of the band White Rabbit Object, and you're like right up the highway. You're just up in Chicago. How you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, thank you so much for having me.
No, appreciate you reaching out to us, and you said that you're playing the Legacy of Giving Festival here in Springfield this weekend. There's some other stuff I've told you about that I'm doing some behind the work kind of stuff. So it was kind of like perfect that you'd reached out at this time. So tell me a little bit about the band, kind of how you guys got started, and kind of just your sound.
Yeah, absolutely. So, White Rabbit Object was a project formed by my husband Frank and I.
Mhm.
We had sort of, once we got married, we had agreed that we were like never going to play music together because we know how that sort of thing works out. But one day I came home and he was playing this bass riff, and I was like, I think you're playing that wrong. And he's like, well, first of all, it's my song, so no, I'm not. But how would you do it? So I showed him and
Mhm.
he was like, okay, well, you're right. And I was like, do you have words for the song? And next thing I knew, we were enjoying a bottle of wine, recording the song. And 2 weeks later, it was on 101 KQX, which is our local alt rock station. And it's sort of taken off since then. And it's been a hoot. And yeah, we're having an absolute blast.
That's awesome. There's so many rock bands out there where I've interviewed it's married couples in the band or they're engaged or boyfriend girlfriend, and just the support that they talk about having with each other. It's like, you kind of find the time to separate, the business from your personal life, but at the same time it gives us things to talk about. So you two are in a band together, you share this life together. So what's kind of the support like between the two of you, where it's like, hey, we want to play music. Well, let's support each other and do it.
It's so cool to have somebody to come home to every day that like wants to play music
Mhm.
and write music and listen to music, and it's it's sort of hard to separate the two because it's like, we both love it so much that it's like we wouldn't want to, we even if we didn't play in a band together, we would be like playing music together or listening to music together anyway. So it's really great to have somebody to always be able to run ideas past, to collaborate with. It's like a forever collaborative partner,
Yeah.
which is great. And Frank is such a talented songwriter, that I get so excited when he's got new things that he brings to the table, because we sort of get to mold our two musical identities together and create something really cool with that.
Yeah, and Legacy of Giving Festival, I think it's a festival you emailed and said you had played last year. You're coming back this year, and I know it's a festival that's pretty important to you overall. So, kind of, what's so important about this festival, and why are you very excited to be back for it as well?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that because Legacy of Giving was our first festival that we played as a
Okay,
band
cool.
together. So it really does hold a special place in our hearts. And we're so excited that they invited us back to play again this year. But Legacy of Giving in general, it takes place at the Old State Capitol Plaza. And all of the proceeds go to some really incredible charities. So it's not only getting to play music for an amazing crowd, you can see one day of music for $10,
Mhm.
the whole weekend of music for 15. There's 62 local and national acts playing. So it's a really great chance to potentially discover your new favorite band and to also give back to charity. I know they support Animal Protective League, the Mary Bryant House, the James Project, and so many other amazing nonprofits. So it really is just a feel good weekend of great music and giving back to the community, which is something that White Rabbit Object is really passionate
Mhm.
about.
And it's supposed to be beautiful this weekend. Be
It's gonna
nice
be
and
gorgeous. I'm so
warm. Yeah,
excited.
it's gonna be wonderful. So it's
Yes.
gonna be nice weather. Come on out, stay hydrated, all that good stuff. You had reached out to me as well and said, "Hey, we have an EP that really nobody's heard much from yet
Yeah.
as well." And told you we do a feature called the Artist Spotlight, and it's cool that you're within the state here. It's a lot about independent bands, up and coming bands, as well, and we do it every single weekday at 8:30. You guys are going to be on this Friday, and Queen's Gambit
Excited.
is the new single. Now, is this inspired by Netflix, or where'd you get some of the inspiration for this song?
So I will definitely say that I saw the limited series
Mhm.
Queen's Gambit. I've read the book too. It was
Okay.
a book. Um, and I love the idea of a female protagonist taking on a male
Mhm.
dominated sort of genre, like chess or like music or whatever it may be. And so I wanted to not necessarily give that character a voice, but I think for like women in music, especially, they're like, we're all sort of playing that character in a very male dominated sort of artistic craft.
Mhm.
And to be able to write something that has so much amazing feminine energy and still be this really cool rock and roll song, like, I just wanted people to be able to see that those two things can sort of interweave and be really cool. And it's like a female power anthem. I don't know.
Okay.
I love writing from different characters. That's one of my favorite things to do in this band. So getting to play the sort of vengeful female character in this song has been a lot of fun. And I wanted to say thank you for
Mhm.
giving us a platform to share this new song. Really, nobody's heard it other than at live shows, but they haven't heard this really amazing recording that we've been working on at Sound Vault Studios. Shout out to Andrew for being amazing and taking such great care of us there. But for you guys giving us a platform to share this music, I think it's so important for local artists to know that they have that support. And the fact that that's something you guys are doing is something that we'll always be thankful for, and we appreciate you.
Absolutely. It's fun to do. My last job in Wisconsin, we had a really, really close relationship with a lot of locals and state bands and branched that out to the Midwest in general with some of the shows and things that we did. I did the artist spotlight there. So I'm very passionate about new music. I'm in my mid-30s. So, it's like there's always the classics are awesome. The bands I grew up with are
Oh, sure.
phenomenal, but there's a ton of music out there right now. And like, you mentioned, being a female fronted band, there's so many more women you're seeing right now. And it's not just
Yeah.
vocalists, there's guitarists and drummers. It's a format that has a lot of music and a lot of really, really phenomenal talent to it. Now you guys have a new EP coming out as well. I want to make sure I wrote it down. So Whiskey Hotel Tango. It
Yes.
sounds like it's something, a military term. When's this EP coming out, and what can you
It
tell us about the
is.
EP?
The EP is coming out later this year. You'll have
Yep.
to wait for a release date, but it is the first of 3
Okay.
EPs. So we're really looking forward to putting out that music. There's going to be some really amazing songs on this first EP. And just putting this together has been such a blast. So I'm really excited for people to sort of be able to sort of delve in sonically to this story that we're telling as a band.
Okay. What's the reason for 3 EPs? Is it going to be different chapters? What you want to do, or can you tell me about it being 3 EPs or on the
Yeah.
way?
So the first 3 initials being Whiskey Hotel Tango, WHT
Mhm.
of White Rabbit Object. And then the next 2 EPs will follow suit in that same style. And it's sort of like a telling of a story in 3 sections.
Okay.
So we wanted to release all 3 of those separately with that story in mind. So you'll just have to wait and see what we have in store for you guys.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to it. River, again, we're going to have the song Queen's Gambit on the Artist Spotlight this Friday, 8:30 in the morning. And I'm going to ask you a question that I'm asking every single band I interview because it's fun and I enjoy doing it. It used to be a blog post at my last job.
Really, I can't wait.
It's asking you about your favorite complete albums of all time, your no skip album. So from start to finish.
Oh my gosh.
And when I get that reaction, I love it because there's obviously the wheels are turning, and it's something I used to have bands write about because I was like, man, do I throw this question at bands? Are they going to be able to come up with some on the top of their heads? And for the last month, it's been going great. So you're next.
I love this question so much.
Okay.
I can't even tell you. And I'm like struggling to like narrow it down because I love, like, there are so many albums that I love from start to finish. 2 that come to mind are Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, Giant Steps by John Coltrane. I'm really into jazz, so those for me are like, it's like sonic mastery. In terms of like an album that's more current, gosh, I think Back to Black by Amy Winehouse is one of the most masterful albums of all time.
Okay.
And then Pet Sounds. I think Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys is like, I mean, I could go on and on about like, I love the idea of like like an album being a book, and so it should read like you just can't stop turning the pages, like you don't want to stop listening to whatever is next. So I look for that in albums, and I find it more often than not, actually. I think that if you keep an open mind and you really go out of your way to delve into new music, you can find that in quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a fun question to ask because your answers are completely different than, what I asked Jacoby of Papa Roach. Completely different, and I asked.
Oh, and I'm sure if you asked anybody that was in our band, they would all tell you something different.
Yeah.
Super, super different. So I'm glad I'm the one that got asked, because I feel like my answers are.
Well, if I ever make this an actual blog post again, we'll get the entire band to do it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that again because it's been fun actually getting to chat about it live and in person with everybody. So again, Queen's Gambit, we're going to have it on your spotlight this Friday, 8:30 in the morning. Whiskey Hotel Tango EP coming out later on this year. There's 2 more EPs coming out. You guys are at Legacy of Giving Festival this weekend. So where can everybody follow the band, socials, website, all that stuff to stay up to date and when you get these next EPs out here?
Yeah. If you just Google wht.rbbt.obj, all of our socials, our website, everything comes up. If you follow us on Instagram, we have our link tree there. Same thing on Facebook, and it's all wht.rbbt.obj.
All right. It's easy to find. There's not a whole lot else that comes up. I'll be honest. I had you send me links, but I did a Google search on my own. There's not a whole lot else that comes up. They'll go directly to all of you. So again, River, appreciate you taking the time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Ryan, thank you so much for having me. See you next time.